Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and peace be upon all of you. Sorry about those technical difficulties, but we're back. And before we begin the proceedings of the third and final day of the 34th annual West Coast Jalsa Salana, we'll begin with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا وينذر الذين قالوا اتخذ الله ولدا ما لهم به من علم ولا لآبائهم كبرت كلمة تخرج من أفواههم إن يقولون إلا كذبا فلعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم إن لم يؤمنوا بهذا الحديث أسفا إنا جعلنا ما على الأرض زينة لها لنبلوهم أيهم أحسن عملا وإنا لجاعلون ما عليها صعيدا جرزا أم حسبت أن أصحاب الكهف والرقيم كانوا من آياتنا عجبا إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى بما لبثوا أمدا.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the MTA studios for the 34th annual West Coast Jalsa Salana. It is the third and final day of this phenomenal Jalsa Salana that we have been able to participate in through MTA. And we hope that you've enjoyed the speeches so far. Please continue to let us know the highlights you've experienced via the hashtag JalsaWC on social media. And also keep following us at WCJSUSA for some incredible quotes and pictures that you can retweet and save. We have quite a session today for you today. We have speeches regarding establishing a relationship with Allah through Khilafat, how to have a domestic life that is both peaceful and tranquil through the teachings of Islam, and talking also about the truthfulness of the promised Messiah alayhi salam. This is the culmination of the past 2 days, and it is going to involve teachings from Islam and Ahmadiyyat that can help us become not just better Ahmadi Muslims, but better neighbors and better people overall. Yesterday, during the guest session, we heard people from all different backgrounds talking about how Ahmadi Muslims are incredible neighbors. And what's amazing about the idea of neighbors is that throughout faith, no matter what faith you believe in, there's this core teaching of being loving towards your neighbors. Not just being kind or being nice to them, but being loving towards them. And love requires something more than just knowing somebody's name or somebody saying hi to somebody else. We actually have to embrace them and make them our own to truly love them. And Osama, you know, we have such a great third and final day ready for us today. What are you looking forward to?
Alhamdulillah. Really looking forward to, along with the speeches that you mentioned, just the brotherhood that you experience when you come to these jalsas. Like we reflected and saw yesterday, the discussion with the converts from Ahmadiyyat, we really got to see Ahmadiyyat in its pure essence, right? For individuals that have no understanding about Islam, no understanding about Ahmadiyyat, come and see how we actually are, and then realize like, hey, that's how I want to be too.
Right.
So it's when you have this like khazana, when you have this treasure that you want to enjoy and share, and to think that we're in that treasure at this moment, right, is something that I really want to relish, because I realize as soon as this day is over, the Jalsa is over. And those blessings that are associated with Jalsa, the happiness that's associated with Jalsa, it naturally is not going to be the same as it was. It's kind of like that saying, the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, where there's a story actually, where the companions say that when we're around you, we feel this spiritual upliftingness, we feel these blessings when you're with you, and then when we're not with you, it's not that same circumstance. And I feel it's analogous to this circumstance here, where around our brothers, around each other, we feel that spiritual upliftedness, and then the real trial comes when we go back home. Mm-hmm. That's when your jihad starts, when you're back at work, you're back at school, and it's time for Zohar, but you also have that meeting, and you got to get the PNRs ready, but you got to go to the meeting. So what are you going to do? How are you going to balance the importance of Allah Ta'ala with being a Muslim in America? And that's where the jihad begins.
That's right. That's right. Allah tells us continuously to keep company with the righteous.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's great about the Jalsa, is that you're just surrounded by righteous people and people
Right.
on that struggle to become more righteous.
Right.
But once you get back into the real world and they want that TPS report, it gets a little difficult. So and it's not just like the 3 days are done and over, let's forget about it. Honestly, we really need to take from these 3 days the teachings that we are learning. I still carry a teaching that I learned from Dr. Fahim Yunus Qureshi from this previous Jalsa on the East Coast, that don't text me when you're bored when it comes to Salat. Don't wait until you have time for Allah. You make time for Allah. Like as soon as it's time for Salat, you do it. And so that's something that's a phrase that keeps recurring in my head.
Yeah.
Don't text me when you're bored.
Yeah.
When it's time
Yeah.
for Salat, and I got a report to finish. Like, nope, you got to go do namaz. Yeah.
And that's really beautiful, because I feel like in each Jalsa, and I've seen it particularly with certain brothers here at the West Coast Jalsa, that there has been like a change of their personality, a turn of leaf, a new chapter that is opened up, just from the spiritual blessings that awaken in Jalsa. Sometimes we're waiting for that like epical moment that changes our lives. And for some people, I've seen it happen at Jalsa, where through the span of 3 days, they reassess what's important to them, what matters to them, and decided that the meaning of life and their existence and their nearness to God is more important to them than other materialistic things. And, they made changes in their lives. And I think it's through things like that, reflecting on little tidbits that you find, little nuggets of gem, of wisdom that you can carry with you, that you can incorporate into your own life, that hopefully actually make a real change. We don't want to just sit here and talk with the lights on. We want to sit here and talk with the lights off too, and talk about how this isn't something that's just a 3-day thing. Mm-hmm. This is something that's going to carry us on as we enter the new year, as we enter into the months to come, and then for the next Jalsa to come, that we're improving ourselves.
Right, and this goes back to what Fike was talking about yesterday, that it didn't take him 3 days, it didn't take him weeks, it took him months, maybe even years to find that righteousness, or to figure out where he was supposed to go.
Right.
When he realized it was about the journey and not the goal itself.
Right.
And so also with that, the lesson that how we were praying last year should be different from how we are praying today. We should be praying better than we were last year. And so I believe it, as having had a son in the past year, I pray differently now, It's like, how can we pray for a better world so that, whether it's climate change or nuclear war, doesn't affect, our progeny, everybody's progeny, right?
Yeah. So the goal of Jalsa is not only to come here and get the spiritual blessings, but to get married and then have children, because that is really what is going to make a difference in your life.
And there was a tremendous Rishta Nata session.
There was,
last night.
Yes, there was. We had an interesting session with Amir Saab, where we had a joint session with first the parents and the youth and the unwed individuals, and then a split session where the parents were able to talk to each other and the youth were able to talk to Amir Saab in an intimate setting. And one of the things that really kind of honed in with me with Amir Saab was that our community is different than other communities. Mm-hmm. What makes us different is the fact that what we have is the truth. And if you believe that this is the truth, and you believe that there is a God that is guiding you, then you will leave your trust to Allah in guiding you in finding the proper spouse for you.
Right. Right.
By leaving your heart on the prayer mat, by doing those prayers, putting in the work that is required, like Guide Sabfaik was mentioning, to set yourself up in that circumstance so that Allah Ta'ala enables you and your future partner to create that relationship. For us in America, it's so difficult because we're surrounded by a culture where dating and intermingling is just so natural and so commonplace that it starts in elementary school.
Right.
And that's frightening, right? Especially as a father as well, thinking like, how are we going to raise our kids in the society where like second graders have boyfriends and girlfriends? It's just ridiculous.
We're going to homeschool him so he won't have any second grade girlfriend. What's really interesting about the Rishnata session is that it was an open forum, right? You know, these decisions aren't happening behind closed doors that people can't put an input into. And not just this open forum, this open discussion, but with the president of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community USA.
Right.
You know, you're actually letting him know how you feel about things and he can respond. You have the young IMA, the young missionaries who are able to talk with you afterwards and discuss strategy like, hey, how can we improve? How can we make things better?
Right.
Because we're all humans. You know, we're all trying to be better and trying to make things better.
Right.
And that's a great part of the shura process as well.
No, that was a really beautiful, transparent aspect. That's the thing. I mean, we're not hiding the ball here, right? Our community isn't about saying that only certain people are allowed to have a certain priesthood or whatever it may be. At the end of the day, we all can have that same nearness with Allah if you put the time and place on the prayer mat. When you're praying, it's just you and God. And at that session, we saw if you wanted to make a change to the Rishnata program in the United States, that was a place to be. You had Amir Saab there, you had Sadr Majlis Kalam al-Ahmadiyya there, you had the National Secretary of Rishnata there. The stakeholders were there. You had Sadr Saiba, I believe, on the other side in the Lajna Hall. So it was a great place for people to share their concerns, and we may not always have the answers that they want to hear.
And that discussion was so conducive to this layout. You know, it's such an open facility, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a huge complex that the viewers can see right now. It's not just the masjid, but there's also this separate area where they can actually make the food in a commercial setting. We have tents that are not just for the Jalsa Gah, but for the men's dining as well. And the women have their own areas as well. And everybody just has open space to walk around, enjoy the beauty outside, Rain's going to start tomorrow, but today we're still good with the sunshine.
Right. The spiritual
And
blessing.
you can see like how it's just so much trees around, so much great herbage, I guess would be a proper word. At farms, you got the mountains in the back with the snow-capped peaks, and it's just amazing,
Guess you don't get that on the East Coast.
Let's not versus here. This isn't Street Fighter, but East Coast is the best coast, of course, as we know.
I doubt that.
And the snow-capped peaks really are something that you just look at and you just say Subhanallah.
Yeah.
You know that
Subhanallah.
there's something that's so big out there, but Allah is even greater than anything that we can see around us, no matter how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
So as we were talking with Arshad Khan, Dr. Arshad Khan yesterday, about how when he studies science, he's like, Allah has made this, and how can I communicate better with Allah through His creation? It's just so powerful to hear that from a scientist.
I really liked his statement where he was talking about how certain scientists, like there's this stigma or maybe this prevalence in the scientific community that they're all atheist. And he discussed about like how there's such little that we know about the ocean floor, there's such little that we know about our brains. And these scientists who go through the scientific method and understand that there's such little that we know are arrogantly coming to a closed-door approach in terms of whether or not there's a God. And that's just, I thought that was a beautiful way of putting it, because it is a little ridiculous to think that as a scientist, I don't know so much. I'll claim myself as a scientist because don't we all want to pretend to be scientists? That I realize there's this method that allows me to understand information and I have such limited knowledge that I'm going to claim that there is no God just because of whatever.
Right.
It's like this one.
It's pretty egotistical to say that.
Yeah. Very. It's this. I remember reading this one statement in I think it was a book on al-Islam called "Scientists and Atheists," or something to that effect. And there was a passage where a scientist, non-Ahmadi, non-Muslim, was saying that to think that, God didn't create the Big Bang and the universe and life is like saying that an explosion happened at a printing shop and the Oxford English Dictionary was just magically produced. So I mean, the fact that we have all these different signs, of course, of the existence of God just from our own, like the Quran tells us to just reflect and look around you, is really evidence enough, and more evidence that it really attacks the fact that why do we have atheism that is prevalent as it's.
You know, you're talking about how, earlier you talked about how 3 days of Jalsa can rejuvenate a soul. You know, that 15-minute conversation with those scientists made me feel like, oh God, I wish I went into science.
I know.
You know, and I hope that
That's a common lawyer plight, you know. That's
I should have done that. Should have become a doctor. Should have become a scientist.
we just can't do math,
Yeah,
you know.
we're really bad at that. And I hope that viewers back home, especially those with children or those who are children, were able to say, you know, science seems like a really good opportunity to really find God in my own way and to really, you know, answer some other questions in life too.
Yeah.
You know, and Hazur mentioned in his speech a couple weeks ago in UK that, you know, focus on different things when you're approaching the sciences.
Yeah.
You know, you don't necessarily need to go all in because everything kind of talks with each other,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
it's all has this one big meaning
Yeah.
altogether. So that's something that's a profound example
Yeah.
of how we can pursue a career in science.
No, I agree. And Hazur has really given a lot of guidance to us in terms of the careers that we should pursue and should consider to stray away from. And during the Waqf No session with the National Secretary of Waqf No, Hafiz Samiul Asab, he mentioned that in terms of for Waqf No, and of course it's, you know, it would go for other MDs as well, Hazur has kind of placed an emphasis in terms of looking into the public sector a little bit and looking also for doctors in different places where there's certain needs for hospitals, whether they be in Indonesia, Africa, and things of the like.
What do you mean
So-
public sector? Like government or
Yeah,
nonprofit?
yeah. So it was. We also had a national a public affairs secretary, Amjad Mahmood Khan Saab, there, and he discussed how those two departments, the Waqf No department and the National Public Affairs Department, are working together on this in terms of understanding what public sector means when Hazur gives that guidance, and the fact that there's so many different opportunities, whether it be in state, whether it be in federal government, high positions for the MDs to look into and to try to put their mind towards, and how we can set ourselves up for something like that. And that's again just the blessings of Khilafat to provide guidance towards a position that otherwise seems like a very difficult thing to obtain.
Yeah, I mean,
Right, 'cause,
it's lacking in the public sector, not just Muslims, but Ahmadi Muslims. And
Right.
it's a great area to really dive in and work on a policy level to help so many people
Right.
with just changing some words
Right,
or
and to
adding some words.
Give a basic example, and I know, you know, don't want to put you on the spot, and you're too humble to say so, but you do a lot of impact for food justice and poverty in the public sector as well as an attorney in that
Right.
capacity. So would you like to tell us a little bit in terms of how MDs can make an impact in the public sector in terms of how you are?
Is the interviewee about to get interviewed?
I think so. We're
Oh.
about to enter the matrix.
Okay, well, in this Inception-like interview, yeah, so it's really phenomenal to be involved in this type of work because it's a parallel to me, like when the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was young and he was in the Hilful Fudul, which was this community of him and his friends who wanted to help the poor and those who had their rights taken away from them. So what I see in those who are poor and those who are living in poverty, the opposite of poverty is injustice. And so to bring justice back to them, we need to change the laws, we need to
Yeah.
take things out, we need to add some things to give them the due rights that they deserve.
Yeah.
So working on that is such a thrill to see people, to meet with them and discuss with them how we can make things better for them, how we can empower them to really talk to the lawmakers and change laws. And so it's a really cool thing. And I encourage definitely the viewers to really get in the public sector as well,
that
especially
is
if they're Waqf No.
A really beautiful way to put it, and it's really such an Islamic idea to give those type of sacrifices that the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has so emphasized, that we must care for the poor. We must find a way to cater for them, to care for them. And to really understand this, we really have to understand the idea of financial sacrifice and the concept of how financial sacrifice is something that purifies ourselves, purifies society, and assists those who are not as helpful. So we're going to go to a nazm, and then after that, we're going to come back to a discussion on financial sacrifices.
कि दुनिया में डूबना तरक्की नहीं है बल्कि तबाही है और उन्होंने हमेशा इस बात को सामने रखना है कि दीन को दुनिया पर मुकदम करने वाले मस्जिदों के हक अदा करने वाले हों अल्लाह की बात का हक अदा करने वाले
खिलाफत नेमत उज़्मा खिलाफत कुदरत सानी खिलाफत रुश्द का ज़रिया खिलाफत فیض ربانی. خلافت نعمت عظما, خلافت قدرت ثانی, خلافت رشد کا ذریعہ, خلافت فیض ربانی. خلافت ظلمتوں میں ہے نوید صبح نورانی. خلافت خلق کی خاطر خدا کا فضل ہے باری. خلافت کے سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری. 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 خلافت عصر حاضر کی ہر ایک الجھن کا حل بھی ہے. خلافت سے ہی وابستہ ہمارا آج و کل بھی ہے. خلافت عصر حاضر کی ہر ایک الجھن کا حل بھی ہے. خلافت سے ہی وابستہ ہمارا آج و کل بھی ہے. خلافت کے قدم پر ہو ہمارا جو عمل بھی ہے. خلافت کی اطاعت سے ہی ممکن ہے جہانداری. خلافت کے سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری. 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 خلافت سے ہی وحدت ہے, محبت ہے, اخوت ہے. خلافت کی لڑی میں ہی پرو کر اصل قوت ہے. خلافت سے ہی وحدت ہے, محبت ہے, اخوت ہے. خلافت کی لڑی میں ہی پرو کر اصل قوت ہے. خلافت سے ہی پانا ہے جو مقصود نبوت ہے. خلافت کفر و باطل پر ہے غلبہ حق کی تیاری. خلافت کے سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری. 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 خلافت عصر حاضر کی ہر ایک الجھن کا حل بھی ہے. خلافت سے ہی وابستہ ہمارا آج و کل بھی ہے. خلافت عصر حاضر کی ہر ایک الجھن کا حل بھی ہے. خلافت سے ہی وابستہ ہمارا آج و کل بھی ہے. خلافت کے قدم پر ہو ہمارا جو عمل بھی ہے. خلافت کی اطاعت سے ہی ممکن ہے جہانداری. خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت رحمت و شفقت سراپا پہ کرے الفت خلافت دھوپ میں سایہ خلافت رنج میں راحت خلافت رحمت و شفقت سراپا پہ کرے الفت خلافت دھوپ میں سایہ خلافت رنج میں راحت خلافت امن میں بدلے ہمارے خوف کی حالت خلافت درد مندوں کے دکھوں میں ان کی دلداری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے سپاہی ہیں ہماری ہے یہی پہچان خلافت پر ہماری جان و مال و آبرو قربان خلافت کے سپاہی ہیں ہماری ہے یہی پہچان خلافت پر ہماری جان و مال و آبرو قربان خلافت سے نبھائیں گے جو باندھا ہم نے ہے پیمان خلافت کی قیادت میں ہے منزل تک سفر جاری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے بسر ہو زندگی ساری خلافت کے ہی سائے میں بسر ہو زندگی ساری
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, before we left off, we were talking about why financial sacrifice is important. And to get into that in more detail, I have with me some very important guests who can really get into the details of financial sacrifice. I have with me National Secretary of Tariq Jadid, Anwar Mahmood Khan Saab. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
I also have with us Dr. Khalid Atta Saab, Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh,
Alaikum
National Secretary of Wasaya of the United States. Khan Saab, can you tell us what is financial sacrifice for those of us that have first time hearing the word?
Financial sacrifice essentially is that you partake your valuable, whatever valuable you have, possessions, to win the pleasure of somebody, either Allah or your loved ones. And that is known as sacrifice. Actually, the word sacrifice is a Latin word. It is derived with the two words, sacra and farse, which means religious rites. That's what it means. So financial sacrifice is the essential ingredient is love behind it. This is the reason Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "Tahadu tahabu," that you exchange gifts so that you increase in love. So when you give something out of affection and love, the recipient also enjoys it, and the giver says the smile on the face of the recipient makes the day for the person who offered the sacrifice. So sacrifice is a very noble thing, and it is with mankind since the dawn of civilization. Adam had two sons, Abel and Cain. We learn from Quran and Bible, and they both sacrificed. But one sacrifice was accepted, the other one was not accepted. So Allah taught us a lesson that although you make sacrifices, but some can be rejected if your intention is not pure or the product you are offering is not pure.
So I can imagine people that, for whatever reason, think that financial sacrifice doesn't make sense to them. They may think, why should I give money for this cause or this cause? What benefit is it going to give to me? Of course, those are selfish reasons, but what are some responses that you would have to individuals that think that way?
First of all, they are practically negating their own statements. They do sacrifices all the time. Maybe not for God, but they are sacrificing their time, their money to win the pleasure of their wives or children. They are partaking some things of their valuables. To gain what? To gain affection and love from their loved ones. So what we are directing is that if you sacrifice for God, because He is the best giver, He has given us everything. Like Masih said, "Sab kuch teri ata hai, ghar se to kuch na laaye." Everything has been given to us by you. We didn't bring anything from ourselves. So if He gives so much out of affection and love for us, shouldn't we respond? Shouldn't we offer something to Him? We can't give Him a gift, but we can offer some sacrifice on our part to win His pleasure.
That, very well said, very well said. Now, I think the viewers may not have an understanding of Tariq-e-Jadid and Wasaya or Wasiyat. Dr. Saab, could you tell us a little bit more about what your department does?
Ji, I am the Secretary of Wasaya, and Wasiyat is an institution that was initiated by Hazrat Masih Maud Islam in the year 1905. See, as Khan Sahab just mentioned very nicely, the sacrifice that we offer is the believers. The ultimate aim is to win Allah's pleasure. And that pleasure is really paradise. This is what Hazrat Masih said, the pleasure is paradise. And there are many ways to win Allah's pleasure. Now, Nizam-e-Wasiyat is a system of extraordinary financial sacrifice. And under a divine revelation, Huzur initiated this scheme. Huzur was shown a dream where he saw that there is a piece of land which Almighty Allah named as Bahishti Maqbara, or the cemetery or the graveyard of the inmates of the paradise. And then Huzur put some conditions, and one of them was that everybody who would join this scheme, he or she will spend at least or contribute at least 1/10 of their incomes or properties. And the purpose behind every sacrifice, financial sacrifice especially, is to gain taqwa or righteousness, the purity of heart. And Allah blesses that. So with that in mind, the scheme was initiated, and with the grace of Allah, tens of thousands of people already joined it. So, and in 2004, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis, Aziz, he reinforced, and he said that my desire is that when we celebrate the first centennial of the Khilafat, at least 50% of all the earning members around the world, they should join the Nizam-e-Wasiyat. So Nizam-e-Wasiyat is very unique in the sense that anybody who joins it and then sincerely works towards it, Allah Almighty blesses him or her immensely. And it brings a change in the person, the quality of life, the quality of righteousness and taqwa. And this is recognized not only by the people around, but even from outside. So anybody who joins, sooner or later, people begin to recognize that this person is not the same as he used to be. And that's the kind of society which Ahmadiyyat is trying to create. So that is one aspect of it. That's the individual aspect. The other aspect of this financial sacrifice in Nizam-e-Wasiyat is the global aspect, about which Sayyidina Hazrat Muslim Maud Khalifatul Masih Sani Raziyallahu Anhu, in his speech, which later became a book form, Nizam-e-Nau, Huzur says that the Nizam-e-Wasiyat envisages to take care of all the needy people of the world eventually. And Huzur says that when this system reaches its maturity, a widow will not be a widow in the sense that she will not be think that she has not been taken care of, and an orphan will not be an orphan, and there will be nobody in the world which will be not cared for. And that is another aspect, and that's a paradise. So that's the beauty of the system. So it has both aspects, individual as well as global.
No, that's very beautiful. As you mentioned, Hazur has set very lofty goals for us in the United States, and as Amir Saab mentioned in the closing ceremony of the USA Jalsa last year, there's unfortunately areas in where we can improve in reaching that goal. So clearly there's viewers that are listening to you right now that have not joined Wasiyat. What would be your response to them to say, what are you missing in not joining?
Right. See, sometimes when you approach somebody, especially the youngsters, it could be anybody, and they think that they are not righteous enough or virtuous enough, or they still do not merit to be a part of the system. Well, the good news is that this system is actually for them, because as Huzur Ayatollah Masih mentioned, that the beauty of the system is that it lifts you up. Like when you have a small child or baby, you extend your finger to him or her, and he holds it and starts walking with you. So that's the system. And Huzur said that if somebody joins it sincerely, then the spiritual journey, which would otherwise take years, it will happen within a span of months. And that which will happen in months will happen in weeks. And that which will happen in weeks can happen in days and hours. So this is the beauty of the system. So one should not think that he is not there yet. The system, inshallah, will take care of that. That's the system. Because we're all weak. We're all humans. We all have shortcomings and failings. And we need, Allah has been so gracious. There was a time in the history of Islam, and we all know that, the Holy Prophet, he gave glad tidings to many of his companions, especially the Ashra Mubashara, that they are heaven bound, going to paradise. So naturally, we are a continuation of the Awwaleen, the people in the earlier times, and we are Akhirin. So Almighty Allah has been so gracious, so benevolent, that He sort of opened the floodgates to the paradise. He said, come on, give a small sacrifice, and the paradise is yours. And also, in the earlier days of Islam, people were asked to come and physically defend Islam, physically fight for Islam. But in this day and age, the physical part is no longer valid. Right. The jihad with sword has been abrogated. And this is a time when only financial sacrifice is important. So it's so easy. So I don't think it's a difficult thing.
That's so true. That's so true.
Well, we have to look at the broader picture for every listener. Allah has given us so many bounties that we can't even count, right? In return, what He's asking us? A dime from $1. Isn't that what it is? A dime from dollar, and then even he doesn't stop there. He said, I will multiply it 700 times. So it will become $70 for you, those who have, reservations. And down the road, it does turn to $700 if they reflect on their lives. Believe you me, every person has experienced it, only if he reflects or she reflects on it. So I think the bargain is really a great bargain. For such a short amount, we are guaranteed, or we are given a hope to enter God's paradise.
That's right. And I think so many of us are looking for a bargain that this is probably one of the best bargains
That's
they
right.
can get.
It
So
is
for
the
dear
best bargain.
viewers, act now, and you can get 2 packages of See It right now, one for yourself and one for your spouse.
Exactly.
This offer is only valid for the next 5 minutes. But Khansab, tell us more about Tariq Jadid, and for our viewers that have no idea what it might be.
Tariq Jadid actually is, according to Khalifa Masih II, is the precursor of the Nizam-e-Wasiyat, the lofty Nizam which he's talking about. And because Huzur said clearly that no other Nizam, new order, is going to be effective. The real reason of why it is not effective, other Nizams, is because there is coercion. There is force involved there. For Wasiyat Nizam, people do it voluntarily. Imagine all the world becomes Ahmadi. Imagine that. 50% of them are Musis. All their belongings, 10% of that, belong to Jamaat Ahmadiyya. What can be done with that amount? This is the reason said that no orphan will be left and no widow. Because that amount would be at disposal of Jamaat Khalifa. And he can distribute it however he chooses to, whatever the right system would be. And these offerings are made without coercion. No taxation, no force, no tax collectors are going behind you. People are offering themselves. Why? Because they want to win the pleasure of Allah. That's the key.
Very well said, Khansab, very well said. So dear viewers, as we have seen here, the importance of financial sacrifice isn't something to think of as not being beneficial for you. The multiplication of such sacrifice is really seen towards you. So now we're going to go to Salam Bhai at Jalsa Salana.
Jazakallah Osama for a wonderful discussion about financial sacrifice. Dear viewers, I hope you do take away that it is time to become a Musi and it's time to get those Waqf Jadid donations in to really help improve your life. As I was just thinking about the concept of financial sacrifices, the pledge for Khudam at least is to sacrifice our wealth first before time and honor. And so regarding time, we're about to see what's going to happen in the Jalsa session today. Regarding, we have a great speech coming up about how to have peace and tranquility within your own homes, and that'll be done by Dr. Bilal Rana Sahib. And then we'll talk about, again, financial sacrifice, spending in Allah's way via Anwar Mahmud Khan Sahib's speech. Then we'll hear Imam Fahim Arshad talk about establishing a relationship with Allah through Khilafat, such a critical thing that we need in today's day and age. And then we will wrap up with Zikr Habib, Promised Messiah alayhi salam's truthfulness in all matters by Dr. Khalid Atta. We will wrap up with a concluding address and dua by Amir Sahib himself. And then that'll do it. We'll have namaz and lunch after that here on site. And let me tell you, I am standing downwind from the Langar Khana, and I can just smell the delicious smells of Langar Khana happening, and I just cannot wait to eat lunch. But of course, I can't wait to experience the program, and we hope you enjoy the third and final day of the Jalsa Salana. I know we will here at MTA, and we will also enjoy sharing it with you as well. Of course, keep us in the know with how you are enjoying Jalsa with the hashtag JalsaWC, and tweet at us at WCJSUSA. Share pictures. What are you eating? What are you? Who are you with? You know, how are you watching Jalsa? Let us see and enjoy your Jalsa experience too. Because what's wonderful is that there's not just one Jalsa a year around the world. That's it. there's a Jalsa happening so frequently that we can always be in the company of the righteous, whether it's in person or through MTA. And Hazur continues to tell us about the importance of keeping MTA on in your house for as little as an hour a day. It really helps rejuvenate your living room experience, your house experience, when you have MTA on in the background. I know I've done it myself, I do it myself, and occasionally I just find myself watching MTA for a couple hours because the programs are so interesting. And alhamdulillah, it's come such a long way from the early 90s where it was on for just a few hours a
Okay,
week.
is there any way for me to-
Now we have it on 24/7 with wonderful programming, besides live things, but also Hazur's programs, the Hazur's Week in Review, and all these question and answer sessions with Hazur. Also programs from all around the world where countries will submit their programs. It's a wonderful program. It's a wonderful channel that we just don't see around anywhere else. So let's definitely make MTA a part of our lifestyle. And one other thing that's a part of our lifestyle is social media as well. So Osama, do you have any tweets that you could share with us?
Assalamu alaikum, jazakallah salam. As you can see, the flavor of Jalsa is coming, whether it's through the langar or the atmosphere of the snow-capped mountains. And even if you're not here, you're still talking about Jalsa. Yes, we know, because we have social media, which can be a beautiful tool that even the Jamaat can use. So, as you can see from the hashtag JalsaWC, there are some very beautiful incidents that folks are sharing, some very interesting takeaways. We see a quote from Norma Torres at the guest session yesterday where she said, "You stand for refugees, immigrants, hungry, children, homeless, poor, and those in need because you believe in love for all, hatred for none." And indeed, that is the motto of our Jamaat, and that is the motto that is echoed in our ethos, in everything that we do, and everything that we believe in, love for all, hatred for none. And individuals that come from the outside also see that. They see that beauty that we emanate. And we also see Ahmed Bhai here saying, our true rose is our mosque, our connection with our Creator, our true existence is in our prayers. Very beautifully said. And also the second tweet that we have about roses at Batul Hamid Mosque. So clearly there's a theme going on here. People like their roses. We also have a tweet from Imam Khalid Khan Saab, Imam of the Bay Point Jamaat, where he says, the guests of the promised Messiah are enjoying Langar Khana food, hashtag Jalsa WC. And if you haven't been to West Coast Jalsa, I would recommend you coming just for the Langar, because that is an experience of itself. So let's take a look a little bit more about the Langar Khana here at the West Coast Jalsa.
We see the guests are enjoying the food, so we, mashallah, feel the sense of achievement. If the Jamaat members, they enjoy the food, they are happy, so Allah Ta'ala will be happy with us. So we get a hope that we will get rewarded for that. I have about 24 team members. They are working day and night, mashallah, to achieve our goal. This time we slaughtered live goat. First we selected the healthy goats. Then we slaughtered, and I'm preparing the, if you want to see that, these are freshly slaughtered goats, and 2 wheels. So to provide Jamaat high quality meat. This time we have added about 4 stoves. 2 outside, they run with the liquid propane, and we bought 2 extra stoves. They run with the natural gas. So, and we have separated outside, and the tea stall we have on the different spot. This year we have added pasta as a new item. For those Jamaat members, they don't want to eat spicy food, or for the kids, And that is the reason that we have made one separate section to prepare pasta.
Langar is a experience in and of itself. The ability to eat the food of the promised Messiah, Islam, the blessings that are contained within that, inside every single molecule of dal, inside every single molecule of the gosht that is presented. Indeed, there are spiritual blessings that the guests of the promised Messiah can take advantage of. And as we embark on this last session with the 34th Annual West Coast Jalsa Salana, it's an important time to really ponder on the speeches, to ponder on the message that Amir Saab is going to give us in his closing session. In the last USA Jalsa Salana, Amir Saab indeed left with many nuggets of wisdom and a lot of opportunities for us to reflect on ourselves, to reflect on opportunities and how we can improve ourselves, and to reflect in how we are being evaluated as a Jamaat as a whole. And here we will have another opportunity to do that with Amir Saab, where again Amir Saab will provide nuggets of wisdom for us to use and share and to utilize for the rest of the year. But these nuggets will only really be used if we heed them, if we listen to them, if we incorporate them into our lives. And now we have that opportunity that's going to happen. You have an opportunity now where you're going to either continue listening to this live stream, continue to be sitting present at Jalsa, or you're going to go and watch YouTube or do something else. But I beg of you to stay tuned for the next hour or two and to use this opportunity to take the blessings of Jalsa, incorporate it into your life, and make that change in your life. It has to be something that you do intentionally. It has to be something that you want to make a real effort of change in your life. And through that, you'll realize that all the steps, all the ABCs of the Jamaat that we learn are something that you can make a part of your life. And when Bilal Rana Saab talks about the means of achieving peace in our home, it's something that we can not only listen to and pay attention to and try to do our best to, think about, it's something that we can try to take into our own lives. It's something that we can try to heed into our own lives, because a speech is just a speech if you leave it at that. But the Jalsa can be a life-changing experience if you use it as an opportunity to be one. If you use it as an opportunity to think about, how can I make this new year a better one for me? How can I make this Jalsa a more invigorating experience for me? Because even though this is just 3 days, like we were talking about previously, this is a set of standards that will change the course of our life. But hey, I'm not just here to preach to you all day. We're going to have enough of that anyways. Let's look a little bit more at what you are telling us on social media. So we also see here that there's photographs of the Langar Khana where folks are saying guests of the promised Messiah served a hot breakfast every morning. And for those of you that are here, you'll know that one of the signature styles here on the West Coast Jalsa Salana is that beautiful halwa puri dal. I'll be honest, I had it this morning and it was delicious. And if you missed out on that, I apologize, because I probably ate your plate. We also have another quote from the guest session where somebody said, "Today I want to present a resolution to Ahmadiyya Muslim community that we stand with you against Islamophobia." This was from Eloise Reyes, member of the California Assembly. And we also have Hadis Zafar Saab tweeting saying, "Thank you, Representative Norma Torres, for visiting us at the West Coast Jalsa yesterday and sharing your powerful and meaningful remarks. Our friendship with you means the world to us, and we thank you for your leadership and integrity." This will be an interesting experience that we'll see as the Jamaat reaches its centennial year next year. And with Hadis Saab leading the media efforts, indeed, that's something to look out for, to see how in this day and age we will spread that message of Islam. We heard previously when Hazrat Muhammad Mufti Sadiq Saab Raziyallahu anhu came, he was able to display the beauty of the Jamaat in a span of 3 years and attain approximately 700 converts. And to think about that in that time period, when there was no Twitter for me to pull up, when there was no Huffington Post for you to post about, when there was no articles or media or any type of easy way where there wasn't even the internet to be able to distribute the information of Islam. Yet Mufti Saab Radhiyallahu anhu was able to do that in that period of time. For such a brief period of time, he was able to disseminate the message of Islam. And the reality is that the way that Mufti Saab Radhiyallahu anhu was able to do that was through the prayers and blessings of Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam, as being a companion of the promised Messiah. But we should not think that that status is gone, that we are not in that living religion, but we are in that living religion. And we can attain those levels if we make those financial sacrifices. So let's look a little bit at what Humanity First does. Salam Bhai, can you show us?
Assalamu alaikum, Jazakallah Sama. Yes, we are here in the field right before the session begins. We knew we had to take you to Humanity First and show you what is happening at the Humanity First Bazaar stall. So, Assalamu alaikum, gentlemen.
Assalamu alaikum.
And briefly, let's introduce ourselves. What's your names?
My name is Hud Ahmed. I'm representing this Humanity First at the stall.
My name is Bilal Rana.
My name is Noor Muhammad.
All right, Jazakallah Faz. And Hud, so what do we have here? What's going on?
So we just have like a bunch of goodies, some shirts. Essentially what we have is, items that people can buy, but the larger thing that we want to focus on is donations. People donate to these amazing campaigns that we have going on for Humanity First.
Now, you just pointed to Bilal and said amazing campaign. Is Bilal a campaign?
No, so like those disaster relief and the posters we have in the back, water for life, food security, all of
You
it.
pointed to Bilal again when you said disaster relief. So what's going on there?
Bilal, explain. They're right behind you. Disaster
Oh,
relief.
okay.
Yeah.
Tell us, Bilal, about that.
So there are a lot of unfortunate instances that happen around the world, that there are some people that cannot help themselves with the issues at hand. And disaster relief is one of them. It is a very high trauma issue. And what we're fortunate enough, we're blessed with a community that has the strength, the knowledge, and the know-how, and the guidance of the promised Messiah Islam in order to help out in situations so drastic. And we're able to do that through our community. And what's interesting is, what I find most important, not just about disaster relief, but about this whole campaign, is that when we have the youth come over, they're so excited about the candies, but we're allowed to give them the time to learn about it.
Okay, Jazakallah.